What is up, everybody? Hunter Orrell here with another interview. Today, we are joined with the CEO of Azuki, Zagabond. Azuki is one of the largest NFT projects, primarily focused around the anime sector. They have recently launched Anime Coin, as well as bought and launched anime.com. If you haven't, I highly suggest that you go and sign up at anime.com. It is free. And watch episode one from the Azuki IP. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm excited for what they're coming out with next in the coming month. Um, Really, this episode is a great look into one of the largest projects in the space and how its leader has not only been a steward for the next wave of Web3 participants, but also navigating the shaky market, as well as making sure that holders of his project are always felt as heard in a good community that they can be proud of, as well as keeping attention on what they're doing. So there's a lot to understand here. I think he gives a good insight into all of that, and I think it's very valuable to understand his thought process and how he's approaching Azuki. As always, thank you for tuning in. It means a lot that you watch these, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. In the world of the biggest NFT founders, there's obviously one that can't go without mentioning, and that is our fellow friend here, Zagabond, NFT founder of Azuki. So glad to have you on the show and get to talk about everything anime, everything Azuki, the garden. There's a lot to unpack here because you have a thriving ecosystem of all these different components, all these different holders across the globe, and you have such an impact on the space, honestly, from not only an internal Web3 perspective, but also the onboarding and outreach to the Web2 and traditional world. I think it's best to just kind of start with who you are and I guess talk about what Azuki is and everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to keep this short. I'm Zagabond. My real name's Alex. Been in the space now. When I say space, I mean the crypto space. I've been around for about 8 years now. I started here with a project called 0x, which is one of the earliest DeFi protocols, and so they're still going strong today. Ran operations there for 4 years, and then in 2021 started exploring NFTs. Just started getting really passionate about the possibilities on how it could disrupt um, not just brands but also IPs. And I really saw that, like, tokenization is the future of entertainment. And so started Azuki back in late 2021. We minted in 2022, and yeah, we've been doing this now for over 3 years now. And It's been an incredible journey. We have a fantastic community. The space has matured quite a bit since then. And we've also just recently partnered with the Anime Coin Foundation to launch Anime Coin. And it's been live now for almost a week. So yeah, a lot of fun things going on.
There's so many little things that we can talk about there. Before we get into, I think, the token, I think we got to start at the most important part for any project, and that is the community. At least in my eyes,
Yeah.
you have, and I mentioned we have 20,000 holders, I think, cumulatively across the entire globe, and that ranges from America to Euro to Asia. Can you just talk on the community component to what you're doing? And obviously there's like an IRL component to also having merchandise and activations and events. Because I think you guys are one of the best in my eyes for getting the community really just like tightly knit around what you're building.
Yeah, I mean, in this space, community is everything. And I learned this from my days at 0x when, we started the project, and we were using a Slack channel at the time for the whole community because they're like Discord wasn't really popular for crypto projects. So it was like Slack and Rocket Chat, I think, was the other one. It was more of like an
Oh,
open source
yeah.
like Discord. Um, and we had like 20,000 people in the Slack channel, and it was wild because those are like the ICO days, right? People were trying to get in early, trying to get in on the ICO. And for a while there, I was like, all these people are just trying to just get in on the token, right? But like, are there any people in the community that were actually aligned with the vision that wanted to contribute beyond just the token sale? And sure enough, like after we launched the token, this was back in 2017. We started seeing like people across the world host 0x meetups to talk about the protocol, talk about the technology, and they were using slide decks that I had shared on Twitter. And I can tell that like there's a solid group of people that are not just in it for the money. They actually believe in the long term vision and they want to contribute. And so taking those learnings and applying it to Azuki, I think, has been really valuable because it it made me realize that it's very important for any project, whether you're in the NFT space, DeFi, AI, whatever it might be, to have a vision on day one on like what are
Mm.
you trying to accomplish here long term, and so that you have people that are values aligned, are vision aligned, and they will be here through thick and thin. And I thought that was very important. And so we established that in the early days of Azuki, right? Where we said, we're here to build an open anime universe, a decentralized brand. And if you want to contribute and co-create this universe with us, then we'd be happy to, have you join this world that we call the Garden. And back then in 2021, 2022, NFT projects weren't really thinking of themselves as brands, right? It was mainly like either your like art blocks or some art focused NFT, or for PFP collections, it was just, oh, it's an exclusive club
It's a club.
of, yeah, and like it had really high floor price. If you got in, you can rock the PFP. It's like a
You
it's
can
like
get
a
access to a
flex.
Discord, but that was it. That was the extent of what community
Yep.
was or the brand was. It was just, oh, you get to be part of a little club and talk and chat.
Yeah, which as a concept I thought was super sick, right? Like with Board Ape Yacht Club, knowing that like Steph Curry had an ape and he popped into the Discord and you could get access to that Discord by owning an ape, that concept was so sick to me. And so I thought, okay, well, the exclusivity piece is there. If we can create a really good PFP collection around the art and the traits, I think we would have that as well. But how can we extrapolate this concept even further so that it's more than just a club, but it's more so a brand that and like what is a brand all about? Like a brand is how someone feels when they're rocking that brand, where they're wearing it or they're rocking the PFP. Like what does that represent? How does that make them feel? And that was like a guiding principle for us early on around curating the community and building the brand is how do we want to make people feel. And for us, it was, this concept of growing together in a garden, co-creation, dope shit only, being very tasteful and very methodical with what we released. So all those things, I think, helped curate the initial community that really resonated with
Yeah.
the quality of what we were putting out. And then kind of the rest is history.
The curation is a great word there because it always felt like you guys were aiming for luxury, high quality, something that didn't feel like it was thrown together and everything blended at the end of the day into one ultimate brand at that like you said. Um what in this grand vision, like you want to be a player obviously in the anime space. You want to dominate it sounds like honestly. um can you walk me through like with what anime is and for the normal, I guess not the normal but like the traditional world, they understand there's Crunchyroll and they understand they can go watch shows on Netflix. Where does anime.com fit into, competing or complementing those traditional venues?
Yeah. So anime, I feel like a lot of us now have watched at least, a show or a movie, Studio Ghibli, whatever it might be. And so we're somewhat familiar with it. Um, and if you're unfamiliar with it, you might think that anime is just a genre, right? It's just another category of media where it's like thriller, horror, and drama, and there's anime. Um, but it's actually much more than just a category. It's more of like a lifestyle, really. It's
Hmm.
more of a medium where it transcends just like an entertainment category because anime is now in pop culture. Like it's in music, it's in gaming, it's like you see it everywhere. And if you go to Japan, like you really do see anime just everywhere.
Hmm.
And we're starting to see it bleed into mainstream culture here in the West, where like athletes are starting to talk about it. Um, uh, like the NFL will do like an anime day where like
Right.
all the players are like in an anime form. And you see like McDonald's collabing with Jujutsu Kaisen, Pokemon, some of these really big anime IPs, and so it's really permeating now into culture. And so I think the opportunity here is 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 huge because um, uh, people don't realize how big of an industry it is already. Right, it's like a $30 billion industry today, but the fandom is actually very underserved. And if you look at where anime fans kind of hang out today, like you might watch it on Crunchyroll or Netflix, but where do you go after? There's actually no good platform or experiences for the fans to actually, discuss, for them to actually express their fandom. And anime fans are some of the most passionate fans in the world. If you go to like Anime Expo here in LA, it's the biggest convention here in LA.
Yep.
400,000 people, fly in, and it's a very diverse crowd. People are
But it's a
cosplaying. People
passionate
are
crowd, you can tell. I mean, when I was there,
yeah.
you knew when it was
Oh,
happening.
you went?
I didn't go, but, like, you would just know. You would know it was happening because you could see
Yeah,
people in costumes and,
yeah,
the parties that you'd, like, see, like, being thrown those nights were, obviously themed anime, uh, but it was, like, passion. It was also, like, pride to, like, rock. Like, you could tell, like, when people were rocking, like, one of their hoodies, like, they're like, "This is it. Like, this is my
yeah.
identity."
Right. Yeah. And like you see everyone of all different ethnicities, all different ages, and they just love anime. And one of the interesting things that I've noticed when I was there was like you would expect that like the most popular cosplayed character is from a popular anime like One Piece or Dragon Ball Z, but it's actually from it's not from an actual anime. It's actually from a video game from Genshin Impact.
Oh, interesting.
And so they had more people cosplaying those characters in the game than, from actual anime. And like that just showed me that like anime is not just anime as a show or a movie. Like it's really kind of transcended across multiple different mediums. And so going back to a question of how do we plan to actually be a major player in this space, um, for us, the goal is to serve anime fans in a way that they're not experiencing today. And so for anime.com, we're going to have a wide variety of features um, with the goal to just provide utility to anime fans, whether they're in Web
Mm,
2 or Web 3. And so the first feature that we'll be coming out with is a watch party where we'll also be premiering episode 2 of the Azuki anthology series. And you can sign up, it's free. You can make an avatar and you can watch together with people in the community, with your friends. Everything is free.
and when you
Um,
say watch together, like, synced, like, both of you
Synced,
are watching
correct,
at the
yeah,
same time.
right. Yeah, so everyone's gonna watch it at the same time. You can, chat. There'll be some, like, cool, like, emojis and stickers that are flying around as well. So it'll be a very, like, social, interactive experience. And that's just, the first feature that we have, lined up, but we want it to be, like, the home for anime fandom. And, a big piece of fandom is the social aspect of it,
Yep.
right? So the way we think of it is what Discord did for gaming, we want anime.com to do for anime fans, a place for people to go to not just watch, but also, um, uh, uh, you know, uh, engage, discuss, collect anime. So that's the goal.
It's fascinating because we haven't seen a social aspect for any of the big outside of YouTube. YouTube's, one of the few places that you can go and, like, comment and share and, follow, but you don't see that on Netflix, you don't see that on Crunchyroll, you don't see that, like, any of the other streaming platforms don't have that. So that's interesting to see happen, and I think obviously it sounds like people want that. On the content side of things, oh, no, go ahead there.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you're right, and it's a really good observation. And like when you go on Crunchyroll, they had comments on there before, and they actually got rid of it. Um, and it just shows that like a lot of these companies, they focus on what they do best, right? Like so with Crunchyroll and Netflix, what they do best is they invest billions of dollars in getting licenses to the top IPs, right? Like exclusive streaming licenses. And so what they want is just the best selection, and best portfolio of IPs to give to their subscribers. But they don't want to handle the community side, which they're not strong in, right? With the moderation and community curation,
Right.
and helping marketing for these IPs. They're not a good partner there. And so what some of these IP holders are looking for is actually a partner that can actually help grow and expand their fan base. So if you're a new anime IP, it's like, yeah, you can be on Crunchyroll and then people will watch it, but what is Crunchyroll doing to actually grow that community, grow that fan base, whether digitally or physically? And it's not much. And so for us, I think we're a very complementary product to the existing streaming platforms. And our goal isn't to go head to head with Crunchyroll or Netflix, because yeah, it's very capital intensive. They are great at what they do. And for us, being in Web3, understanding how to build community, we know how to do that. And so we can be a great marketing partner for these IPs in helping build and establish their communities, especially here in the West.
And just so I'm understanding that correctly, like, being able to, congregate their entire fan base in one spot, have them communicate with each other, if they have merchandise sales, have that be displayed in one place, but again, a hub, a home, somewhere where people, are going to keep repeatedly coming back to,
Exactly.
um
Yeah.
and then also, I think there's like some cross stuff there where, all of a sudden you have an account and oh, these are the three IPs that we see these people going to. Um, what can we do to either, bring a fourth IP in, or how do we use this to increase their experience in a better way? But a big area of
Mhm.
that is getting that IP in. Are you, and I was gonna say, like, the content creation side of things, we've seen recently, Luca's gone really hard on the user generated content side. We haven't seen anything on the, like, hey, this is how we're taking Pudgy Penguins and building off of the IP, for content. No, I'm not trying to take away from like what they've done with Giphy and everything. They've done a great job, but on like
For sure.
actual short form and long form video, we haven't seen what you guys have done. Um, are you guys approaching this as like, hey, Azuki is going to be the ultimate creator of all this content, and we're going to be the ones building and co-owning and fundraising and whatever it might be,
Mhm.
or is it like what's the balance between you being the creator versus pulling in IP?
Yeah. So when it comes to first party IP being Azuki, third party IP being all the IP that's available already, for anime.com, long-term vision is, this is the home for anime fandom. And so we need IPs from all over, right? But in terms of where I think the unique opportunity is for us on the Web3 side is actually not in really putting the existing third-party IP and trying to go after that, but in more so, how do we actually um, play a big piece in producing the animes of the future.
Mm,
Um, because if you look at the production model of anime today, it's quite an archaic model where different partners come in and form what's called a production committee, and there's a merchandising partner, right? They put in, X percent, and then they get the merchandising rights, and then another licensing partner comes in with like the TV rights, and then when the anime is made, all of these different partners own different pieces of the IP, and they can distribute, and they can earn revenues that way. What this means though is that the actual animators and the anime studios oftentimes are not part of the production committee. They're more of like a contractor in this whole deal. So the actual creators that are creating these animes are not getting their fair share of the success in the IP. They just get paid a fixed amount, and even if the anime becomes really, really popular, they still kind of remain underpaid. And so I think what's powerful about a decentralized production committee model is that the community can come in, right, through a currency like anime coin,
Right.
and put funding together based on what they want to see come to life with new animes, and actually own part of the future of anime through this new model. And so this is something that we've been, working on, and we're excited to, share more about this soon. But with anime.com, of course, continuing to expand our, IPs that live on the platform. We have a couple of exciting announcements there. Um, and more on the Web3 side, playing our hand in the future of anime. So we're kind of playing both ends there.
I love that. I'm excited for what you guys have in store on the IP and creation side. I watched episode 1 previously, and I actually rewatched it right before we spoke, just to refresh myself. And um look, the story and the lore is captivating, and you can tell you guys really do understand how to drive that, that interest, that peak that in and pull people into your universe. And episode 2 is coming out in February, right?
Yep, it's coming up shortly. Yep,
You guys got a lot planned for the rest of the year. I'm
a
curious what
lot.
you're
Yeah,
most excited for, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
yeah. Oh man, what I'm most excited about. So we have a product in the works, and
Like a physical product?
no, it's digital.
Digital, okay.
Yeah, it's a consumer app, and it's meant to help proliferate the anime IP within sort of our ecosystem. I'm trying to like describe it in a way that won't get me in trouble. But what I'm excited
No,
about
nobody's
this
listening.
is,
We have 0 listeners, 0 viewers. This is going nowhere. You can say whatever.
um, yeah, and what I'm excited about this is that like we've been very focused on the Web3 community for the past 3 years, right? And with the anthology for the Azuki anime series, we're starting to get more attention outside of Web3. And what I like to remind the community and also my team is that there's a whole world outside of crypto Twitter, right? And sometimes,
It's hard to imagine,
I
but, like, there's a
yeah,
world
yeah,
outside of this.
yeah, and so we have to remind ourselves that like these are the people that we're onboarding, and we're finally at that stage where we can actually create applications that real anime fans are excited about. So this is the year that we start onboarding fans and giving them experiences that are only possible through Web3, that they're not able to get anywhere else. So this particular app, I think I'm excited about it because um, the utility it provides is really fun for both the Web3 and Web2 audience. And yeah, so we're looking to come out with this relatively soon, and everything's synergistic within the anime category, right? We have anime.com, we have this app coming out, we have the Azuki IP that's going to be on anime.com. So everything sort of works off each other.
I love it. I love it. I mean, again, it's the whole ecosystem plays off of each other.
Yeah.
Um, the most recent addition to the ecosystem being Anime Coin. Can you just walk me through I guess, what its role is? Because I know I've seen this before, where there's all these different components, and people that might not be fully familiar with what you're building, they see that there's beans, there's elementals, and now there's this token. Like, how should they be approaching it? And also, like, what is its actual role?
Yeah. So anime coin is a culture coin for the anime fandom. And my thesis there is that the ticker is this generation's hashtag. And what I mean by that is in Web 2, social media, we can share what's trending, and we can share what the latest topics are by using the hashtag, and people can see what the hottest hashtag or trending things are. Now with crypto and the ticker, not only can we share what's capturing attention, but now we can also own a piece of the culture.
Right.
And I think what's going to happen is that entire fandoms and cultures will be tokenized. Brands will be tokenized. IPs will be tokenized. And the strongest communities will now have access to these tokens, and they will be able to build with net new value on top of what's already existed before. And I think that's a major unlock for the anime industry specifically, because we talked about how passionate and creative anime fans are. And now, if we can put ownership of the fandom into the hands of the fans and creators, imagine what they can build for the industry, as a result of this. And so that's a thesis behind anime coin as a culture coin. And now there's a whole suite of products that we're building that integrate with anime coin. So the first one is anime.com, right? So all of the commerce that happens on anime.com long term, can be powered by Anime Coin. And Anime Chain, which is an app chain that supports anime.com, will use Anime Coin as its native gas token. So I think by first and foremost leading with Anime Coin as a culture coin, it really helps inspire, I think. And you'll see, and you'll see some of this start to happen once our marketing rolls out. Both Web 2 and Web 3 fans can really support this movement, because it's really all about empowering the fans and
Right.
creators,
Yep.
right? But then we also have first party products that integrate the token as well. So that's kind of like the 1-2 punch, and the thinking behind Anime Coin.
And making sure there's like people are using it to spend or buy with it, and um there's demand, there's actual demand and utility, and I hate to say the word utility, but because I think
We're starting to shift back to it now, right? Like for a while there, it's like, hey, no utility, meme coins, right? Like all you need is a good meme. But then I think what we're realizing now is like, look, for this whole space to move forward, we need real utility. It's not a word I like to say either, but it is important for sure.
yeah. What is your overall take on the market right now from like a maturity perspective? Like, I think that's a good take on it, but we've just went through a whirlwind of pump fun to then AI meta to now we have, Silicon Valley, exited founders launching
Jelly,
capital.
jelly.
Like, it's crazy. I'm curious what, like, from your position, how you're navigating this as a founder. If you're, obviously you're learning from it and seeing what's happening, but the influence it has on your operations day to day.
Yeah, man, this is an incredibly hard cycle to be a part of, whether you're a trader or a builder, because the metas are just changing so rapidly. And now, even with like if you're in the trenches, right? Like you can only be in a coin for maybe like 20, 30 minutes now, and then the rotation starts to happen. So it's almost like like our attention spans are getting so cooked. Like, like with doom scrolling on TikTok, right? Like the video needs to capture your attention within a split second. Otherwise, you're just scrolling past it. The same thing's happening now in the crypto space, where the like launching a coin, making a meme is so seamless now. It takes a couple clicks. And people are able to rotate between tokens so quickly that you just have to really have conviction in what you're building long term, and trust that like you're not going to hit every single meta, but as long as you have a strong community that understands where you're going, and you have a strong plan to onboard, I think that's how we've been approaching it, from a team perspective. But at the same time, like for me to do my job well, I feel like I have to be online all the time to know what's happening, because there are, like, through all the noise, there are tidbits of innovations where it's like, oh, interesting. Okay. How would that work if I combined it with this?
Mm.
Like the AI agent stuff, it's like, yeah, people are excited because, like, it's a good narrative. And so tokens can like pump hard. But underneath it all, there's really interesting technology that we're experimenting with, doing some R&D on, and eventually it'll be ready for consumer use cases. Um, but yeah, I think what we see in crypto is because people can speculate, and the token valuations just get out of control. The price will always precede like real tangible use cases. So like the hype will always get in front of everything. And so you kind of just have to ignore some of that noise and really have conviction in what you're building long term. And so that's what we've been doing.
It's I think that's a very base take. I don't think we unfortunately, I think a lot of founders are they kind of have to stay in their lane and just build and do their, focus on their community and their product. We don't get to hear from a lot of founders on, hey, like here's my actual like full market outlook and how we're approaching stuff. So I find it refreshing, and also like comforting in some way to know that I'm not insane watching all of this happen and being like, hey, like we're just cooked. Like there's never going to be like an actual real like time where we're like, hey, the real stuff is coming to float, I guess. But one part of this that's really interesting is that because of this, we have a attention economy that everything's shifting place to place. And you want to keep your holders obviously engaged and excited and happy. And you've done that so far with dropping the content and then dropping anime coin and anime chain. um, what do you think that like that's a cycle that you just have to keep doing, which is like we have to keep releasing products, we have to keep releasing new tech, or do you think the content is slowly going to become the like this is our attention grabber and what keeps people around?
So I think content alone is not enough, especially for the Web3 space, because we're not here just for content, right? Like we're here because we honestly just love tokens, right? Like I think the
That
tokens is honestly like one of the most impactful, if not the most impactful invention in the past, decade or so. Um, and when I was at Zero X, our mission statement was to create a tokenized world where all value can flow freely. And we had this slide that we shared with the team every once in a while, and it was like this chart that showed like how many number of tokens by category we thought there would be in the next 5 years and 10 years and beyond. And like in terms of like fungible tokens, we thought there would be maybe like like 10 million or something, and non-fungible tokens was actually like way more. Like because our thesis was like anything that had value to it will become tokenized at some point. Like you know, like your mortgage, your house title,
yeah.
and those will all be represented by NFTs. Um, so I think like being in Web3, tokenization is something that as a founder you just have to always um, keep your interests and your eyes on, because there's always another way to tokenize something in a way that is interesting, is in a way that could reward the community. And so yeah, so I feel like content alone is not enough. Like you have to always be thinking about tokenization.
I always give the flywheel example of Paw Patrol. I don't have kids. I'm not a weirdo, but this is pitched to me as somebody who does the merchandising for Paw Patrol, and they were explaining why it works, which is you have content, you have a story, but you also have a gamified side of it, and then you also have a merchandising and like actual physical side. And so they're taking this IP and they're keeping it fresh by, oh, we're rolling out new lore in content. And then that, those new characters and that new lore and those new like missions or whatever might flow into the actual gamified stuff where you're actually touching and interacting with the IP. And
Mhm.
then there's a whole physical side of, okay, now we can put this, license this, we can sell merchandise, we can sell toys. And I think the Web3 brands that are positioning themselves to be part of that flywheel while having a community that's not only committed but in love with that IP and that lore are going to be winners. And I do see you kind of aligning to that. Um, I
Yeah.
think I think more on like the tokenized side, right? But then than anything else right now. But you're expanding. It's like an expansion of where you
Yeah, they
are.
gotta go hand in hand. Yeah, I think the storytelling piece is critical. I think, I don't want people to hear this and think like, "Oh, content is whatever. I just have to think about tokens." Actually, that's a common pitfall I think with a lot of projects in this space is they lean too hard in one way or the other. Right? Like if you go too hard on Web3 without really thinking about the story, which is really what captivates it's all. Right? It's like story, and if you don't focus on that and all you're thinking about is like the different token mechanics and stuff like that, I think you'll have a good short-term momentum with people that are just very excited about the token, but there's no longevity there because you're not building IP, you're not building brand. And so that's a very short-lived time box thing, which if that's what you're into, and you make that expectation clear up front, then I think this is like a perfect space to experiment in. um, Conversely, you have teams that are like, okay, look, we have the NFTs now, and we have a community. Now we're just going to build IP like we do in the traditional world, and um, we go find like a writer's room, we find a director, we make long form content, and then the community can wait. And then once it's out, the community can just watch it along with everyone else. I think that's way too much on the hey, we are ignoring Web3 now, and I think that's how you start to lose momentum.
Mm,
So I think there is a good sort of I don't want to say formula because no one's really cracked the formula yet, but there is, I think, value in making sure you're keeping both sides engaged.
100%. Yeah, it's you can't go heads down and be like, we'll get to you eventually. You do need to stay like active in the line of duty. And I call it the line of fire because everybody's on a wartime arc right now. Especially as I mean, look, Bitcoin, I get it. Bitcoin's at like all-time high, and sentiment around the entire ecosystem
Yeah.
has never been this piss poor.
No,
Um,
none of us own Bitcoin anymore. That's a boomer coin. So people are like, who the hell cares about Bitcoin? My backs are down. My meme coins, my AI coins are down.
I can tell who doesn't own Bitcoin. It's very obvious. Um,
Yeah.
on that topic of a wartime arc, because I do wanna touch on it a bit here. Floor prices and token prices, unfortunately, are it's a headline. It's a number that people can quantify and be like, well, over the last 7 days, this is what happened. As a founder with a floor price and a token price, what is your take on that? And then I guess what is your reaction to fighting through it?
I feel like I've been on a wartime arc since 2.5 years ago, when I had to go through some crazy FUD, right? So since then, I've just been like locked in. Um, and price and floor price and all that is so important, honestly. And if any founder says like, "Oh yeah, it's not important. We don't care about price," I think they're either lying or they just really don't understand. Um, and so, but but it's one thing to say, "Hey, look, it's important." Another thing is, what can we do about it, right? And I think it's a very challenging thing because this space is volatile. There's no token that goes up and to the right forever, unless it's a honeypot. Um, but it, so I think it's important to understand like what are drivers that really resonate from a narrative perspective with your community, with the broader space, um, and yeah, I would say like it's something that we definitely track. Um, And it's it's like both an art and a science, and you have to understand like and like for every project it's different, right? Because like for fungible tokens, like the price action is different, and like with anime coin now, right? It's on a bunch of different exchanges. We don't have all the data around who's holding it at this point because a lot of it is on centralized exchanges. But there's certain things that you can glean from the data, and you can use that to help inform, like, okay, maybe which geographic regions are important
Mm.
for us, right? Like, should we focus more on Korea, or India, or wherever it might be? And I think for teams, like, yeah, you should really just try to make more data informed decisions, and be in touch with your community. And even like during downturns, I think a strong community is made during these pockets where like prices are down, but people are like, hey, I'm going to double down now because I believe so much in this project. So any project that hasn't gone through at least a couple of major like corrections, I don't consider that a blue chip or a strong community.
I've noticed from just being an outside observer that again, we've had a lot of communities go through this. I will applaud the Azuki community overall because I've not seen anybody else react uh in the numbers that they've reacted of just saying like, all right, I'm doubling down. Like, do you know who these guys are? Do you see what they're building? And you guys like this is you showed up. You got on the show with me in the middle of again the craziness and are still active and putting out like that should be applauded. That just shows that in the craziest of it all, you guys are still showing up. Min Dynasty, who is probably one of my favorite content creators and favorite Azuki members, or holders, I guess is the right way to put it. Put out a great tweet, basically was saying how, this is like just basically stood up and was like, I'm proud to be part of this community. I'm proud of for what
Mhm.
this, you guys represent. And I will say again, that shows and other people and outside observers see that and they go and they look at their own bags and like, well, my community is all fudding and fighting in group chats, and whales are dumping and saying, fuck it, I'm out. And over there at Izuki, you have people that are just getting more passionate, and they're kind of taking it as a call to action.
Yeah, no, like Min is one of the dopest people I've ever met. It's like just like outside of Azuki, just like in real life. And I think like every community has like a handful of people who other people in the community look up to,
Mm,
right? Like for various reasons. And what I appreciate about the Azuki community is, and by the way, like we've gone through our fair share of, oh, whales are dumping and people are flooding, and like I think every community has gone through
yeah.
that. It's kind of how you recover from it that really matters. What I appreciate about the Azuki community now is there's such a wide variety of people that are just dope in their own respective lanes. We have people that are founders. We have people, and it's the same with the Pudgy community, right? There's a lot of dope people. There's like a lot of good creatives, content creators. There's people that are, actors and actresses. There's, like we have billionaires in the Azuki community, they're just like, yeah, I just like the art. So, it's a really strong community because of how diverse it is and because of all of the challenges we've had to overcome. And I think playing into that, like into those challenges, is something that like I don't shy away from because it's made this community what it is. And it's not something I necessarily plan out for it to happen, but it just is the way it is. And then different communities kind of shape up to be things that you never would have imagined or guessed. But that's kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah, you can't plan any of this. You know, it, we've a lot of things. Trump launching a meme coin was not on my 2025 bingo card. Would never expected that, and that had a huge impact. Whether you want to believe it or not, it did have a huge impact on the entire market, just pulling liquidity out of mostly the Sol ecosystem. But many other people were like saying, I have an NFT or I have this token. I'd rather gamble it on Trump, and that has an impact. You can't play him for that.
Oh yeah, we felt. I mean, all the NFTs went down when Trump came out, right? People were trying to get some liquidity, to get it on Trump. Um, Yeah, so these things you can't really predict, and I remember because Trump came out a week before, 'cause it's been a couple weeks now, right? And then Anime Coin launched a week after, and people were saying like, "Dude, you should delay it," like, "Trump is taking all the spotlight." Um, but, I think this is something that, like, if you're preparing something for a long time now, and for us, we've been planning this for a very long time, and the community has been ready for this for years. Like, there's really not a bad time, right? Because there's like the risk of the timing, or the importance of timing, goes way down when you have a community that's been through it all for years. So I'm glad we still got it out when we did. Um, but yeah, in this space, you never know what's going to happen. Next week, who knows?
I have no idea. I actually go to bed every night and I pray I wake up and the charts are within 5% and nothing crazy has happened. That hasn't happened in a really long time where I can just wake up and I'm like, okay, I can go get some coffee and relax a little bit. It's waking up to mayhem.
Yeah, but at the same time, what I like about the space is that it's so malleable that we can shape the narrative, that we want to see. And what I mean by that is, um, like, if you have conviction in something and you think that, crypto should evolve in a certain direction,
Mhm.
and you showcase kind of like how you're going to do it, and you build a community behind that, then slowly the rest of the space will be like, you know what, like, yeah, I see that, like consumer crypto, for example, right? That's something I think the abstract team has done really well. Is, look, like, it's now time to onboard the masses, and we need really good consumer experiences. And so that's what this is all about. This next phase of crypto is going to be about consumer crypto. Okay, great. And more people are kind of joining in on that, and it's really striking a chord with a lot of people. And so, I think, with things that didn't exist before, if you're a team that really believes in it, I think just go for it, and make sure that you're really on the timeline, harping on it over and over again. And then soon, I think you'll build momentum, and you have a community behind it, and you can really shape what the next trajectory of crypto might look like. So yeah, the markets from a macro perspective is going to do its own thing, but you can be the team that starts the next, meta, and it could be as simple as just like strong narrative.
I think I could not agree more with that. I think on the technical side, when DeepSeek released and there was all this craziness, one of the most respected AI devs I know, basically, I was like, how should I think about this? And trying to understand. I have my own opinion. He basically said what you said, which was, we're in an industry that changes every day, rapidly. Every day you wake up, somebody's putting something else out. But all DeepSeek did was basically just influence a new direction and a new kind of standard on training. And we see the same thing happen within Web3 when, you guys could launch a new way to consume content and everybody goes, "Oh, wait. That's actually genius and that has momentum." Um, it sounds like you guys are on the way to launching things that hopefully have that impact of, "Oh, wait, they got it right. They figured it out." And I think it on the consumer side, that means being able to navigate the traditional Web 2 people correctly. And very few people, I think, are building with the greater world in mind instead of, "Hey, we're thinking about our holders in Web 3."
Yeah, 100%. I think, it takes great teams to do that. It takes great leaders to do that, and I feel like there's more and more, good people joining the space. And I look around today and I see some really fantastic teams that understand, um, the importance of, not just the technical, side, but also in go to market, in, narrative, and breaking into Web 2. Um, and so I'm very excited about the future of this entire space as a result of that.
Amazing. I on the I have to come back to one area of your IP that I've loved, which has been the physical side. Because you did the skateboards were physicals, right? Those are the skateboards were
Yep.
one of the cooler things that I had seen come out of any project. For the absurdity of it. It just seemed so like it seemed cool. But the
Yeah.
merchandising side, you guys have really put out high quality. Um, what should we be expecting more on that this year from like getting people to represent the brand also in the physical world?
Yeah. Yeah. So um, we've done some really cool physical drops previously. You mentioned the golden skateboard. So we did put that up for auction. And yeah, we broke the record for most expensive skateboard ever sold, which is pretty cool.
That's that's so
Um,
sick.
yeah, and but what was really cool about it actually is so there's like a PBT chip in the middle of the skateboard, right? And so what that does is like you scan it, and there is a token that's minted that's always connected with the owner of the physical product. Because if there's a new owner and they scan it, the token would automatically get transferred to the new wallet.
Right.
So it's like a digital twin of the physical that always follows the physical owner. So now you can like flex the fact that you own this physical piece digitally. So we have this collector profile that shows all the Azukis that someone owns, all the physical items that they've
Yep.
collected with the PBT in it. And there's also this concept of collector score, which depending on the rarity of your NFT, there's a score associated with it. And for the skateboards, it had a ton of points associated with it because of the price that it was purchased at, which was, I think the cheapest one was maybe, it was definitely over 100 ETH.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
I don't think we ever saw one go under 100 ETH.
yeah. And there's been a
It was
couple of
absurd.
secondary sales, yeah, afterwards, but yeah, they've all been at crazy prices. But those owners were rewarded for it when Anime Coin was launched, right? And so 37.5% of the token supply went to Azuki holders, and it was correlated with the collector score that they had on their profile.
Hmm.
So I think it's a cool way for people that are in the Azuki ecosystem that are rewarded not just for their NFT collection, but also for the physicals that they've purchased. But yeah, so we want to do more of that this year. I think what people love about the Azuki brand is like our uh, creativity when it comes to our collabs and our drops. And so yeah, people ask us all the time, like, "Oh, when's the next hoodie, or when's the next jacket? We want this." So yeah, I want to do more of that this year. I also want to do like an evergreen like merch line for Azuki, which we've been working on for a while. So yeah, so you can look out for that.
I can't wait. I will have a Zuki hoodie in the closet the second you guys drop something next time. Um Look, I'm I think the best thing for a lot of people that are holding here or are listening here are they're holders and they understand what you're doing. But I think there's also a lot of people that are probably listening to this for the first time. If you have people also people that are listening and learning about you for the first time in Azuki, but you also have people that they know who you are, they know what's going on, and they don't hold anything. What should they be doing? Should they be buying anime koi? Should they just be finding a way to become participants within your ecosystem and community?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to join the ecosystem now, right? So you can buy some anime coin. It could be as little as a penny. And that's the beauty of fungible tokens. And you can join the Azuki Discord. We're always chatting with the community there. If you want an NFT where you can build kind of your digital identity around, there's some great options where there's the OG Azukis. Obviously, there's elementals. And within the elementals, just 4 domains as well. So some people, see themselves more in the fire domain. Some people are more water, more earth, more chill, right? And some people are like lightning. So I think elementals is a great collection to just get your first PFP because there's a lot of really cool traits. And of course, beans is a super fun, cute collection, and a lot of people like to,
My
rock,
favorite
rock
bean
those as
is Nate
well.
Alex's bean, man. That's my favorite bean of
The
the
down
entire
bad bean.
yeah.
Yeah, with the black eye. Yeah.
Oh, down bad.
Yeah, it's
God bless
funny.
that guy. Oh man. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah.
there's quite a few ways to get involved, but like I think the Zuki community is really welcoming. So if you just buy an NFT, or buy some anime coin and then just make a post about it. The community will find you and then we'll blow it up.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, man, I can't thank you enough for your time coming on and talking. And I know you're busy, so we don't want to keep you too long. And thank you to everybody who showed up. If there's anything else you want to drop, or any alpha or anything, any words to the holders, feel free to drop that. Plug anything you want. Um, I guess the one thing I will say is I'm so excited for episode 2 to come out. I love what you guys are doing. The IP is exciting. It's just so high quality, and I'll be on anime.com.
Thank you.
Happy participant.
Dope. Yeah. I mean, just make an account on anime.com. You don't even have to buy anything.
It's free. It's
It's
free.
free. Email only. You don't even have to have a wallet, you don't have to pay gas. So, if anyone's listening and is interested in kind of being a part of our journey and transforming the anime industry, I think Azuki is a great community to be a part of, because we're doing some big things, building out anime.com, really making our mark in the anime industry. And by being a part of the community, you get a front row seat into how this whole journey, goes. And we try to keep things as entertaining and engaging as possible on the Web3 side as well, which I think is unique, because we're expanding into Web2, doing real things to onboard. At the same time, we stayed true to our roots in Web3. And so I think it's a really good balanced community to be a part of. So we'd love to have you if you haven't joined us yet. But yeah, a lot of exciting things happening. So we'll start to roll these things out soon. But yeah, thanks for having me. It
Of
was a great
course.
chat.
The future looks bright for Azuki and anime. Love it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. And thanks again, Zagabond.
All right. Peace.